Most people think aging shows up in wrinkles, gray hair, or a few extra aches in the morning. But doctors who study longevity often look at something far more revealing: a single movement, one that takes less than 10 seconds. And surprisingly, it can say a lot about your mobility, your balance, your strength after 50, and even your long-term independence. Here's the question most people never think to ask themselves: can you sit down on the floor and stand back up again without using your hands? It sounds simple, almost trivial. But for many adults over 60, this movement quietly exposes something deeper about how the body is aging. Not just muscle strength, but coordination, joint mobility, and the kind of functional fitness that determines whether you maintain your independence as the years go by. And here's the fascinating part. Researchers discovered that this one simple movement reflects several pillars of healthy aging at the same time: mobility, balance, core stability, and real-world strength. In other words, it's not just a test. It's a glimpse into your health span and your quality of life over the next decades. And once you understand what this movement reveals about the body, you may start looking at aging very differently. Most people assume aging shows up first in wrinkles or gray hair, but the body tells a different story. One of the most revealing signs of how well you're aging often appears in something far more practical: how easily you can move your body through space. Sitting down on the floor and standing back up again might sound simple, almost trivial, yet this movement quietly reflects several pillars of healthy aging: strength after 50, mobility, balance, and coordination, all working together in real time. When someone lowers themselves to the floor, the body immediately calls on the large muscles of the legs, especially the glutes and quadriceps. These muscles are the engines of functional fitness. They help you climb stairs, get out of a car, carry groceries, and stay independent as the years go by. But strength alone isn't enough. The hips must move freely. The core must stabilize the spine. And the nervous system must coordinate balance so the body doesn't tip or collapse. This is what makes the sitting rising test so fascinating in the world of longevity and evidence-based health. Instead of measuring one isolated factor, like muscle size or heart rate, it evaluates multiple systems at the same time. Strength, mobility, balance, coordination, and joint control all reveal themselves in a single fluid movement. In a way, it acts like a real-life laboratory test, except the laboratory is your own living room. And here's the interesting part most people don't realize at first. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness. How easily you move through this simple transition tells a quiet story about your health span and your ability to maintain independence over time. Once someone understands what this movement truly reveals about the body, the natural question becomes obvious. How do you actually perform the test safely and correctly at home? Now that you understand what this movement reveals about your body, the next question becomes practical. How do you actually try it? The sitting rising test is surprisingly simple, but the way you perform it matters. This isn't about rushing or proving anything to anyone. It's about observing how your body moves. Think of it as a quiet conversation between you and your own mobility, balance, and functional fitness. Start by standing on a stable surface with enough space around you. Ideally, position yourself near a chair, couch, or wall, something you can reach if your balance needs a little help. From there, slowly lower yourself to the floor. If possible, try to sit down without using your hands. Many people instinctively reach for support, and that alone tells you something important about your balance and strength after 50. Once you're seated on the floor, pause for a moment. Notice how your hips feel. Notice your posture, your breathing, your stability. Then begin the second half of the test, standing back up. Again, try to rise without using your hands if you can. If your body needs assistance, maybe a hand on the floor or a knee for support, that's perfectly fine. This isn't a competition. It's a snapshot of your current health span and mobility. One practical cue makes all the difference here. Move slowly, really slowly. The slower you go, the more clearly your body reveals how well the systems of balance, mobility, and coordination are working together. Many people are surprised by what they discover during this simple test. And once they see the result, the natural question emerges: what does that score actually mean for your functional aging? Once someone performs the sitting rising test, the next natural question appears almost instantly. So what does my result actually mean? Doctors and researchers often use a simple scoring system based on how much assistance the body needs to complete the movement. Every time a hand, forearm, or knee touches the floor for support, the score decreases slightly. It's not about judging the body. It's about observing how efficiently strength, mobility, and balance work together. Think of it like this. The more support the body needs, the more the movement relies on external help instead of internal stability. When someone can sit down and rise back up with minimal assistance, it usually reflects strong coordination between the hips, legs, core, and nervous system. That combination is a powerful indicator of functional fitness and often correlates with better mobility and independence over time. In other words, it's not just a movement, it's a window into how well the body manages everyday physical challenges. But here's an important point that often gets misunderstood. This score is not a diagnosis, and it's certainly not a prediction of anyone's future carved in stone. It's simply a snapshot of your current health span, how your body is functioning today. Think of it the same way you might think of checking your blood pressure or resting heart rate. It's information. And information, when used wisely, becomes a powerful tool for learning how to age better. Interestingly, many people who try the test for the first time feel a moment of surprise. They expected it to be easy until the body tells a slightly different story. And that moment of awareness is actually valuable. Because once someone sees how their mobility and balance truly behave under a simple movement like this, the next question naturally follows. Why do so many adults lose this ability after 60 in the first place? At first glance, the sitting rising test seems like something most people should easily be able to do. After all, sitting on the floor is something children do without thinking. But somewhere along the path of adulthood, many people quietly lose that ability. Not because the body was designed to fail with age, but because certain movements slowly disappear from daily life. And the body, as it turns out, is extremely efficient at forgetting what it no longer practices. One of the main reasons is the gradual loss of leg strength. After about age 50, adults naturally begin losing muscle mass each decade unless they actively train to maintain it. The glutes and quadriceps, two of the most important engines for mobility and strength after 50, often weaken first in sedentary lifestyles. When these muscles decline, standing up from the floor becomes less about smooth movement and more about negotiating with gravity. Hip mobility also plays a major role in this equation. Modern life tends to keep people sitting in chairs, cars, and sofas for most of the day. Over time, the hips adapt to smaller ranges of motion. The joints stiffen, surrounding muscles tighten, and the body gradually loses the fluid mobility that once made floor movements effortless. When that mobility decreases, balance and coordination must work harder just to complete simple transitions. And there's a subtle factor many people overlook. The body tends to keep the movements we use and quietly forget the ones we don't. If someone hasn't sat on the floor in 20 years, the nervous system simply stops prioritizing that skill. The good news, though, is that the ability isn't permanently lost. Because once we understand which muscles and joints actually make this movement possible, the path to restoring that functional fitness becomes much clearer. When someone successfully moves from standing to the floor and back up again, it may look simple from the outside. But under the surface, the body is coordinating an impressive number of muscles and joints working together with quiet precision. This is one of the reasons the sitting rising test has become so interesting in the world of longevity and functional fitness. It doesn't just measure strength, it reveals how well the body functions as an integrated system. The primary driver of this movement is the glute muscles. Think of the glutes as the body's main power generators for healthy aging. They help extend the hips, stabilize the pelvis, and produce the force needed to lift your body against gravity. When glutes are strong, everyday tasks become easier. Climbing stairs, standing from a chair, or lifting something from the ground. In many ways, strong glutes are deeply connected to independence and long-term mobility. The quadriceps, located in the front of the thighs, act as the stabilizers during the transition. As the body begins to rise from the floor, The quads engage to extend the knees and support the upward movement. Meanwhile, the core muscles quietly stabilize the spine, preventing the torso from collapsing forward. At the same time, the ankles play a surprisingly important role by adjusting microbalance signals that keep the body upright. But here's the insight many people miss. Mobility in the hips often makes the biggest difference of all. Strong glutes are powerful, yes, but if the hips cannot move freely, the body struggles to organize the movement efficiently. That's why people who maintain hip mobility and functional strength after 50 often appear to move with far more ease. And once someone understands how these systems work together, the next question becomes practical. How can you improve this ability after 60, even if it currently feels difficult? By the time someone reaches their 60s, many assume certain abilities are simply gone for good. Getting up from the floor can feel like one of those things. But the truth is far more encouraging. The human body remains remarkably adaptable, even later in life. With the right approach to mobility, strength after 50, and functional fitness, many people regain abilities they thought had quietly disappeared years ago. One of the simplest starting points is the assisted squat to a chair. Stand in front of a sturdy chair, slowly lower yourself down, and then stand back up again. This movement trains the same muscles used in the sitting rising test: glutes, quadriceps, and core stability. Start with 5 to 8 controlled repetitions, 2 or 3 times per week. Over time, this builds the kind of practical strength that supports mobility, balance, and independence in daily life. Another powerful exercise is the supported lunge. Holding onto a wall, kitchen counter, or even the back of a chair, step 1 foot forward and gently lower the body. This helps restore hip mobility while strengthening the legs and improving balance. Many people are surprised how quickly this begins to improve their confidence in movement. Small improvements in joint mobility often create big improvements in how the body feels during everyday activities. Around this point, it's worth mentioning something many viewers ask about. Inside the Longevity Protocol, your comprehensive guide to a longer, healthier life, there's an entire section dedicated to rebuilding mobility, balance, and functional strength safely after 50. If you've ever wondered how to structure a simple weekly routine for longevity and Healthspan, you'll find a link to the book in the pinned comment below. Finally, one of the most effective ways to improve this specific skill is simply practicing floor transitions with support. Sit down on the floor using one hand if needed, then stand back up the same way. Over time, try reducing the amount of assistance. Maybe one day you use one hand, then later just your fingertips, and eventually none at all. This gradual progression retrains the body's coordination, mobility, and balance, 3 of the most important ingredients of healthy aging. Because in the end, the ability to move confidently through space is one of the clearest signals of how well someone is aging. Sitting down and standing back up from the floor might look like a small thing, but beneath that simple movement lives something much bigger: strength, mobility, balance, and the physical capacity to remain independent for years to come. And here at Longevity Blueprint, we like to remind people of one simple truth: your goal isn't youth, it's independence. Now here's the question that really matters. If a simple movement like sitting down and standing up from the floor reveals so much about your mobility, balance, and functional fitness, what might it reveal about the way you're aging today? Not in theory, but in the reality of everyday life. Because healthy aging isn't measured in years alone. It's measured in what your body still allows you to do with confidence and independence. So take a moment after this video and try the test yourself. Slowly, safely, near a chair or wall if you need it. Notice how your body moves. Did you need your hands? Did your balance feel steady? These small signals aren't judgments. They're information. And information gives you something powerful: the opportunity to improve your strength after 50, your mobility, and your health span in ways that truly matter for your quality of life. And if this topic opened your eyes, there's another piece of the puzzle you need to understand. Because physical function is only part of the story. There's a deeper biological process that accelerates aging in many men after 50, and most people have never heard about it. That's exactly what we explored in the video, Why Men Age Faster After 50, and the DNA Problem No One Talks About. I highly recommend watching it next, because understanding that mechanism can completely change how you approach longevity and evidence-based health. If you found this video valuable, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here at Longevity Blueprint, the goal isn't chasing youth or extreme performance. It's something much more meaningful. Live longer, stay stronger, age smarter.